I hope that you are enjoying video lessons of this particular course which we are going through during the last few days. What is the course? Design and Facilitation of e-learning courses. Personally, I have presented 3 video lessons to you. One was on understanding learning and instruction. Another one was on scenario based learning, and the third one was collaborative learning. Today I am going to present another video lessons related to this particular course, that will be on read, reflect, display and do R2D2 model. Friends, I understand that you have already gone through some of the video lessons and developed some concept, and you have tried to implement those concepts for online learning. Now, the structure of this video lesson is that first I will talk about the learning outcome, then I will give you a very brief about learning style, and then I will discuss the model R2D2, types of learning activities, and at the end I will sum up. Now, what will be the learning outcome? After attending this video lesson, you will be able to highlight different learning styles. You will be able to discuss read, reflect, design and do model for addressing online learning styles and associated mnemonic to enhance the memorability and use of it. So, these are the 2 main learning outcomes of this particular video lesson. Now, I will go to a brief about learning style, but before that I like to say you something. I like to say that you attend to my voice, at the same time you will find that in my presentations I have highlighted some important words and sentences as I have done in my earlier presentations. This is for better retention. So, definitely you will listen to my voice, at the same time you try to read as much as possible from the slides also, because the auditory and visual both are very much important for this particular lesson. Now, let us discuss very briefly about the learning style. Online learning, has become very popular nowadays, and it has been increasingly popular in education and training. However, you will find that there is a high dropout rate. It has been noticed by different researchers. Bonk and Zhang, 2006, they opined that instructors face serious challenges to attract and retain diverse learners in online courses. You know that in online courses the learners are coming from different backgrounds, they are having different learning styles, they have different types of experiences. So, it is very much important to develop the online course such a way that you can attract all types of learners and you can retain them in the course. Learners in online environments want what they want. They want learning that is responsive to their preferred styles of learning. You must recognize the rich body of literature on learning styles before you try to develop some online courses. Otherwise, the online courses will not be a very effective one. There is a need to provide an extended theoretical framework as well as practical guidance to enable online teaching to address varied learning styles and the cultural backgrounds and preferences. It is very important that you must understand the theoretical knowledge, the learning styles of the learner, their background and their preferences before you develop a particular online course. Now, one aspect with regard to learning styles, let us discuss about the Kopp's learning style. It includes perception and processing. That is a very popular one. According to him, the learners perceive and process information in continuum. What is a continuum? It starts from concrete experiences, reflective observations, abstract conceptualization and active experimentations. A brief about this. Concrete experience means being involved in new experience. The learner has his own experience and all the time he is gaining the new experience. So, to be involved with the new experience. Then reflective observation is another one, watching others or developing observations about one's own experience. This is important. At the same time, when you observe others' behavior, experience, at the same time you try to develop and observations about your own experiences. Then abstract conceptualization important, that is creating theories to explain observations. And the last one in continuum is active experimentation, that is using those theories to solve problems and make some decisions. B. McCarthy 1987 identified 4 types of learners. He talked about innovative learner, analytic learner, common sense learner and dynamic learner. Innovative learners are primarily interested in personal meanings. They always try to find out the personal meanings in everything. Analytic learner, from the term itself you can understand, they focused on acquiring facts to understand concepts and processes. They are very analytical. Common sense learners, what they want? They want to know how the things work. And dynamic learners are primarily interested in self-directed discovery. They are very much interested in discover things, but self-directed. As open system and e-learning, online learning, always we suggest that you use that self-directed discovery. Fleming and Mills 1992 identified again 4 types of learners and learning styles. One is visual, second is auditory, third is reading, writing, and fourth kinesthetic, tactile or exploratory. These learning styles is known as VARK learning styles. Now, coming to the visual learners, what the visual learners want? They prefer diagrams, flowcharts and graphics. However, in this particular learning style, videos, films and webcasts or PowerPoint presentations have not been included. Auditory learners prefer hearing directions, lectures or verbal informations. According to Fleming, learners who prefer reading and writing learn best from text passages, words and written explanations. So, these are the learner who like to read and write, text passage, words and written explanations. And the fourth category, that is the tactile or kinesthetic learners, they learn best by connecting to reality through hands-on experience, hands-on examples and hands-on experiments and so on. They like strategy of role play, they like debates, they like practical exercises and simulations. You can remember when I was discussing about the collaborative learning in my previous presentations, I talked about simulations as one of the very important strategy for collaborative learning. So, simulations is very important here. So, now these 4 types of learning styles you have gone through. Now, coming to the aspect of R2D2, to provide an organizing and aid for various options available in online environment, Bonk and Zhang 2006, they designed R2D2 model. What is the purpose? Purpose is that for addressing online learning styles, they have given importance to the learning styles, online learning styles and associated mnemonic to enhance the memorability and use of it, memorization, retention, that is very important. So, coming to the model itself, types of learning activities, now we can discuss one by one. R2D2 model does not specifically address the instructional design, because course, whenever we discuss about any online course, we generally discuss about instructional design of the course and the development process. There are lots of instructional design models. You must have gone through some of the instructional design models in this particular course and you may go through many more. But here we are talking about reflection on the type of task, because this particular model talks about reflection on the type of tasks, resources and activities. So, they are not talking about the instructional design and development process, they are talking about reflection on the type of task. This is very important, the resources used and the activities that the learner may want to embed in an online course, or instructor may want to embed in an online course for the online learners. So, this model proposes an integration of 4 types of learning activities. One is reading or listening, number 2 is reflecting or writing, number 3 displaying, and number 4 doing. These 4 types of learning activities we are going to discuss one by one as per this particular model. Now, reading, listening and knowledge acquisition for verbal or auditory learners. This is the first point. Now, reading, exploring resources and listening to online lectures is the first part of the R2D2 model. This part essentially focuses on knowledge acquisition. The first part is knowledge acquisition, and these are the methods: reading, listening, knowledge acquisition, verbal and auditory learners. Both verbal and auditory learners have been taken into consideration. The learners can acquire knowledge through various components. Say for example, video streamed lectures and podcasts. Then you know about synchronous presentations during online courses. You know about online discussions, is very important, and online and paper based readings and explorations. Then you have heard about online tutorials. You have heard about audio tapes, use of audio tapes and audio files and so on. So, all these things can be used for auditory and visual learners. Next, you may assign online reading materials or ask to find articles to the learner. You assign online reading yourself as an instructor. At the same time, you tell them to find articles. This is an activity, it is a very important activity. So, what kind of articles the learners will find out? That relate to the activities for a particular task. Say in online situation you have given a particular task, so related articles they will have to find out. That is the task. In this case you may guide to explore content. Content exploration is very important aspect of online training. When learners read from a selection of an article, so this may be called guided discovery. Guided discovery activities may be open ended, where learners select articles based on their interest related to the course. When you are guiding that you select some articles, you tell them to select articles according to their own interest. You guide them, but this is that they will discover, but that is very important because interest, motivation, these are very important for online courses. So, you guide them to find out articles based on their interest, but articles should be related to their particular course, the task you can give them. Now, this approach is perhaps more suited to self-directed or self-motivated learners. Whenever we say self-directed and self-motivated learners, we used to say that in open distance education, most of the learners we expect that they are self-directed and self-motivated. But actually this is not the situation. In some cases the learners take admission in open distance education, even in online courses also. They may not be self-directed, may be guided by others, by parents and others, and instructed to take a particular course. That also may happen. So, self-directed and self-motivated learners, for them the self-guided approach is very important. Say for example, some learners they need more guidance in online situation because some learners are totally new in this situation. So, for those learners you may provide pre-assigned readings, the readings which you have already selected for the learners, because the learners are new. If the learners are new, they may not perform the activities what you are suggesting, related articles searching and this and that. So, it is better pre-assigned readings you may provide to them. Now, the verbal learners will appreciate frequently asked questions, because this is very for interactions, interactivity. The frequently asked questions is very important. You provide the questions and you can provide the feedback also. Learners may also prefer online chats, especially with voice channels open. You may use chat tools, chat tools for online quizzing. Online quizzing is very important. So, select learners, you will have to test their understanding of course content. So, for that you can use the online quizzing. There are a variety of ways to help online learners read, listen, explore and acquire knowledge. There are varieties of ways. As an instructor, you will have to think, keeping the learning style in mind, what kind of activities you can provide, what kind of ways you can take for online learners so that they can read effectively, they can listen, they can explore and they can acquire knowledge for this particular course. Instructor guideline is very, very important. In any online course, you will have to provide instructor guidelines. So, guidelines may include how to use those tools and where to focus one's efforts. These are central, very important to smooth running of the course and student retention within it. As I told at the beginning that researchers found that in online courses the high dropout rate is available. Say for example, more than 80%, 85% learners sometimes they drop out from the online courses, maximum 10%, 15%, even less than that complete the course. So, the reasons, there are various reasons, but one is that learning styles. If you do not follow the learning style of the learners, then the course may not be an effective one. Now, in this particular stage, I ask you one self-assessment question which you can answer at the end of the video lesson. How do you like to promote guided discovery activities in online learning? Now, come to the second one, that is opportunities for reflective or observational learners. The second part of R2D2 model addresses reflective or observational learners who prefer observing, viewing, watching and reflecting upon learning situations and activity. The reflection is very important. Here we are talking about the reflection. In any workshop I conduct, I ask the participants about the reflection, because if I talk about the study skills, probably you know that study skills, there are various strategies you can study. Even in when you are studying a particular textbook or self-learning material, say for example SQ3R, SQ4R technique, survey question, read, recall, review and reflection. You can reflect upon what you knew earlier after going through a particular unit. You can reflect upon what new things you have learned. You can reflect upon the relations between two units, two paragraphs, and whether your knowledge was in you had a right knowledge or correct knowledge now, what kind of knowledge you have gained after, and what is the change you have observed. So, any kind of things you can reflect upon. You can reflect upon others' behaviors, your own behavior, you can match your behavior with others' behavior. As a key part of this reflection, it also emphasizes here the writing tasks and activities. These are very important. Now, some activities, say for example, everyday activities in online courses, say email responding, this is a very common. Then bulletin board commentaries on current news and posted articles, that is also very important. Threaded online discussions are there, various courses, engagement in multiple online chats with colleagues and friends around the world, because online course you can have chat with friends or colleagues or learners all over the world. Millions of learners reflect on their learning in their personal or course related blogs. That is very important. So many learners, they reflect upon their learning, how they feel, how they are taking the course, what are the advantage, disadvantage and how they are feeling, everything, anything, their reflections they can place in the personal or their related blogs. So, you can have that one and you can come to know about others' reflections also. You can put your own reflection also. Now, next one is very important, that is also you may interview practitioners about their jobs so that they also can reflect on the demands of a particular occupation. Say there are some criteria, the demand that particular occupation wants. Now, how you reflect on that in a particular job. They may also reflect on how certain concepts or ideas from their books or online lectures are referred to, encountered or handled in the real world. That is the implication part. That is also very important. The concept is there, lectures you have attended, concept developed, ideas you have developed, and how it has been handled in the real world situations. That reflection is also very important. This is a practical or implications of the knowledge. Now, Albert Bandura's social cognitive model of learning highlights observation and reflection. These are highly powerful components of human learning. Observation and reflection, these two are very powerful, as I am talking about all through. Now, with the emergence of personal learning tools such as blogs, the blogs is very common nowadays, then personal home pages, learner profiles and electronic profiles, portfolios, electronic portfolio which is also called e-portfolios. Opportunities for learners' reflections on their performances continue to mount. So, these are the things through which you can reflect upon and you can reflect upon, any learner can reflect upon, and others also can come to know about others' reflection. So, social cognitive model, that is very important model which can be used in online learning. So, two things, observation and reflection. You keep in mind that as an instructor, whenever you develop any course, online course, keep this observation and reflection in mind. Now, in your opinion, which activity provides more opportunities to reflective or observational learners? This is another self-assessment question. You can answer at the end. Now, third one is displaying learning for visual learners. Third part. This third part focuses learners to represent what they have learned or are in the process of learning through visual representations, depictions or overviews. Now, learning in this quadrant focuses on providing pictures. In any online course, if you go, you will find that number of pictures related to the topic, diagrams, charts, graphs. Besides this, there are videos, small videos, but one thing you will have to keep in mind that very long video is not acceptable. You will have to put a very short video. In online course, maybe number of videos, but the video must be very short. Then animations, also very attractive, and written overviews and summaries. Written overview summaries is also very important, because there are visual learners, I told you, and therefore relates most closely to the visual learners. In many of the online courses, you will see that teacher is giving lectures continuously for half an hour, for 20 minutes, for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, without many visual aids. That may suit the auditory learner, but that may not suit the visual learners. So, for the visual learners, you will have to keep these things in mind, so that the visual learners also become interested. Because if the learners are not auditory learner, then definitely they will not like your course, they will drop out. So, as an online instructor, you might use an interactive whiteboard. This is very important. Interactive whiteboard you can use in synchronous communications. It is very much used nowadays, with learners using arrows and different colors, notations and highlights, because these are very important aspects which can attract attention and keep the learner motivated, interested and attentive also. So, these things are very important. In my presentations also, you can see that I have presented and I have highlighted some words. I have told you I have highlighted some important words and sentences for your better retention. That is why I have used two different colors. The important words and sentences I have highlighted. You may ask your learners explore or search through an online library of video clips which display concepts, procedures and skills as the real world. So, video clips, online library of video clips is very important, which seems to be the real world scenario. Video cases are often used in professional institutes such as business, medicine, law and education to display key concepts in action. You can see that business, medicine, law, these are the professional courses, and if you use the video cases here, that will help to develop concepts very easily. Internet, it has become a very highly visual tool, and I know that all of you are using internet every day. While there are many such visualization technologies available, new ones are constantly emerging. That is very interesting with the internet, because every day new technologies are coming up. Additional tools and toolkits for visual representations are needed. These are very much needed, which are coming up, because to guide learners to become more self-directed in their online learning pursuits. You may also use adventure blogs and animations to enhance learners' visual learning. Interactive news, stories, blogs or explorers in their travels and videos of scientific experiments, all these things you can use very effectively. Then you can ask your learner to develop a concept map which summarize the key points. Then comparison and contrast metrics, Venn diagram, flowchart, virtual tour, everything are very important components. There are a number of timeline tools available to help students. These also can be used to foster students' critical thinking and evaluation of their learning. Now, two important tools you can mention for visual representations which may guide learners to become more self-directed. Now, the last point of this model, hands-on learning for kinesthetic learners. The fourth quadrant, R2D2, involves having learners applying what they have learned, reflected on and visualized in practice exercises or in the real world. Such learning links well with kinesthetic learner who need to try out experience, imitate and practice concepts and ideas in order to learn them more deeply. Internet increasingly offering many hands-on experiences nowadays in various fields, specifically in science subjects. One obvious way to apply learning is through the use of cases, scenarios and simulations. If you have attended my previous lecture on scenario based learning, you will understand this, and context of authentic problems where they can test their knowledge or solutions against that of their instructor, their peers or expert. Then cases now exist on the web in almost any field of study, from peer service teachers might interview for jobs in a simulated school, talk to school counselor, teachers, librarians and principals about particular students or situations, and they can make decisions about problem cases. Another idea of placing students in the real world is to have them conduct market research and interesting educational research using online polls and surveys. Online polls and surveys are very popular nowadays. You know, maybe you have used this poll or you have taken part as a respondent also. Now coming to the summary, sum up, we have discussed today the learners in online environment want learning that is responsive to their preferred styles of learning. So this particular model has given importance to learning style. So we have discussed that R2D2 model developed by Bonk and Zhang for addressing online learning styles and associated mnemonic to enhance the memorability and use of it. You have learned that this model, R2D2 model, fosters reflection on the type of tasks, resources and activities that one may want to embed in an online course. So keep in mind that reflection, resources, activities, different tasks, keeping the learning style of the learners in mind. So this model proposes an integration of 4 types of learning activities, that is reading and listening. So you will have to keep in mind reflecting and writing, displaying through various methods and doing means activity. So all 4 you see that have been covered through this model: reading, listening, reflecting, writing, displaying and doing. As per first quadrant, the learners can acquire knowledge through video streamed lectures we have discussed and podcast. We have mentioned synchronous presentations, online discussions and online paper based readings and explorations, online tutorials, audio tapes and audio files. So you can use, but it does not mean that you will have to use all those things in a particular online program or online course. It depends upon the need of the learner, need of the content, and you can select the components what you are going to use for online course. When learners need more guidance or who are new to e-learning, you may provide pre-assigned readings, and you know the verbal learners will appreciate the frequently asked questions. And we talked about the second component that you have already gone through, that starting from email responding to multiple online chats. Then we talked about third quadrant, which talks about pictures, diagrams, charts, graphics, etc. And the last one is fourth quadrant. This R2D2 model involves having learners applying what they have learned, reflected on and visualized in practice exercises or in the world. So friends, we have discussed R2D2 model in detail and I have provided you some self-assessment questions. Now you try to answer those questions, you try to go through other materials and have a very effective time. Okay, thank you.